So what's love got to do with it? Hi, I'm Reverend Andrew Bozeman, and this is On the Wings of Your Mind. You know, love is all over the place. Love is a word that is used over and over again, day after day after day. It's in songs. It's put forth quite often as the ultimate answer. And it's the solution to conflict, at least it's supposed to be. It's the answer sought diligently and on the minds of billions of people. Billions of people. But what is love? What's the value of love? What's the power of love? And what's the validity of the statement that God is love? Well, let's talk about it. So in thinking about this question, what is love? Of course, the title of Tina Turner's hit song, What's Love Got to Do with It, just popped up in my mind. I mean, it worked for her. 1984, the beginning of a brand new career for her. So what's love got to do with it? Let's find out. Please click on the thumbs up button, and if you haven't already done so, please choose to subscribe. Need the thumbs up button to let people know that I'm here. You know, those likes feed an algorithm that lets you know what people are worth watching and what people are not. So please click on the thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed, you can do so by clicking on the logo on the right side of the screen, the right corner. Remember, I'd love to hear from you too. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions. So please use the chat box on the right side of the screen or the comment section below the video. This ministry is here for your empowerment. Here to help you break out of the doldrums of material life into the higher echelons of the spiritual, to help you get to that point of infinity where it all begins. Because once you hit the point of infinity, that's when things really open up. That's when all the possibilities are there for you. You break out of this very limited existence called physical life. So you can support this ministry by going to my website at bozemandevelopment.com and choosing Please Donate, or you can use my Cash App, which is on $Andre Amron, $Andre Amron. I really appreciate your support. So back to the issue. Why is love so prominent in our language? Well, good question. But you know it's there. No matter what the language may be, love is there. It is primary. It is powerful. It seems to be the primary need of human beings. Yet it's something that we don't understand. We can't define it, and we scarcely understand it. Excuse me, I have to turn off my phone. So, I've checked out some definitions of the word love, and thought this was a nice one. Love is a set of emotions and behaviors characterized by intimacy, passion, and commitment. It involves care, closeness, protectiveness, attraction, affection, and trust. Love. Love can vary in intensity. It can change over time. It's associated with a range of positive emotions, including happiness, excitement, life satisfaction, and euphoria. Cool. I would say that definition is primarily focused on romantic love, but hey, it's there. The trouble with the word love is that there's so many types of love. There's so many ways to define love. So only got this single word, love, that has the responsibility of describing several different iterations of that emotion we know as love. As I said, the definition that I gave is focused on romantic or sexual love. But there's also friendly love, brotherly love, where there's no physical attraction, just a very warm and comfortable connection between two people called friendship. Or there's familial love, which is love between mother, child, father, son, brother, sister, family love. Then there's spiritual love, which the Greeks called agape, which is where the desire within us, the compassionate within us to help uplift others. So that's agape, spiritual love. Then there is just plain old generic love, as in, I love to ride horses or I love lasagna. But in the most basic sense, love is the emotion felt and actions performed by someone concerned for the well-being of another person. That's love. And so when asked to describe love in one word, the possibilities are endless. Endless. There is a one-word description of love in actually every alphabet that exists except for X and Q and Z. X, Q, and Z. Otherwise, everybody else is included. A, accepting, aching, addictive, adoring, affectionate, alluring, amorous. B, beaming, beautiful, beloved, besotted, blazing, blessed, blinding, blissful. C, caring, celebratory, cheerful, cherished, chivalrous, committed, compassionate. D, daring, darling, dazzling, dear, dedicated, deep, delicate, devoted. E, enticing, electrifying, encouraging, endearing, enduring, engaging, enjoyable, enthusiastic, erotic, eternal. Love, love. So every alphabet has some description of love. And of course, there's always the Bible. The Bible is full of passages concerning love. The 1 Corinthians in chapter 13, verse 4 says, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Yeah, love. But the concept of love originally comes from a much higher source than the material ones, the ones that are concerning to us here on the physical plane, on the material plane. The erotic love or the familiar love. It starts with the sacred writings. It starts with the spiritual level, which is that the original act of love was creation by the creative source of all that is. Most of us call it God. Sometimes we call it universal consciousness, infinite intelligence. I call it infinite intelligence. The act of creation is the act of love. So infinite intelligence loves its creation, which includes all of us. And it loves its creation because we are all expressions of infinite intelligence. We are not separate from it. We are part of it. And as one begins venturing into the realms of spiritual knowledge, of spiritual involvement, that spiritual connection with infinite intelligence takes us to higher levels. And when we get involved or take ourselves through spiritual work, our spiritual practices, into the realm of infinite intelligence, then the concept of love becomes less abstract and more personal. And that's where it really counts for us, is as personal expression. I can recall those moments as I look back on my life, those moments, those events where I've experienced the love of spirit, of the divine love, when it assisted me or protected me or uplifted me. It was there. Love is the energy that drives the expression of life. Love is life. When we see a field of flowers, we are witnessing the expression of love expressing as colorful beauty. When I look back and recall how I became involved in the world of computers, I can see the forces of love moving circumstances to elevate me. I can see that. As some of you might remember, I ended up homeless and living on the beach at the end of my adventure as a Hollywood writer-producer. And while I initially saw that situation as negative, I eventually came to view it as a gift from God. It was a gift of love. And I say that because I had received my calling to become a minister several years before my Hollywood adventure. And I had rejected that calling. I had said, I don't want to be a minister. I had rejected that call of being a minister. And I had this ambition of becoming rich and famous. And being a minister was not conducive as far as my ideas were concerned with becoming rich and famous. So that's how I ended up in Hollywood. But even though that was not the path that I had come into this life to follow, because I came here actually to be a minister, but since that was not the life that I had come in here to experience, it was interesting because I was allowed to chase that dream on my own. My free will was allowed to chase that dream. My free will was allowed to go against my plan, the plan I laid out when I came into this life. My free will was against that, and so I ended up going to Hollywood and trying to become a writer-producer. And I was allowed to do that. That's love. I was allowed to do that. I was allowed to chase that dream until I ran out of energy. Yeah, lost connections. But so when I burned out on it, I ended up being evicted from my apartment. I ended up losing practically everything I had. And I ended up walking from downtown Hollywood to Venice Beach, where I set up residence for a few weeks. And I remember being there, at first very despondent, but I ended up talking to the ocean. There was nobody else to talk to. I ended up talking to the ocean about my situation and what had transpired and who had betrayed me and all that stuff. And even though I had at the time felt that God had deserted me, it was during that experience that I was warmly reminded of God's presence. One, because I was getting answers. In talking to the ocean and asking questions, I began to hear the voice of God coming back at me across the ocean, in tune with the sound of the waves, a whispering voice that responded to my questions, a whispering voice that responded to my comments. So I remember that on that final night of my stay there, it was the worst night of all because I found myself very cold and very alone. All of the sleeping places that I had sort of set up for myself were suddenly filled. People beat me to my sleeping places. I mean, I hadn't had trouble all that time that I was there. There was always a place that I knew where I could get comfortable and warm and protected from the wind blowing across the beach. But on this night, there was nothing available. I ended up being out in the open with nowhere to go. I had lost my wallet. I was despondent. Everything seemed totally hopeless. And in the midst of all that, in the midst of my tears and hopelessness and thinking that it was all over, I suddenly found myself wrapped in an invisible blanket of warmth. Just warm. It just surrounded me. Warmth surrounded me. And I felt this wonderful, loving presence of an angel who had come down to protect me during that long, dark night of the soul. That long, dark night of the soul. So that turned out to be the last night that I was on the beach, actually. And then within a few months after that, through a series of fortunate synchronistic events, I ended up in San Francisco. Yeah, I ended up in San Francisco. So my conversations with God apparently had some good result. I had finally given up on my quest for fame and fortune, and I had turned my life over to God while I was on the beach. I had finally said to God, okay, you win. I'm going to follow the path of becoming a minister. All I need is a teacher, so take me to my teacher. And within a few months, I was in San Francisco. And that's where my teacher was, Norma Tringali, who created a mystery school to teach us the spiritual teachings. And to support myself, to feed myself during that period, I signed up with a temporary workers agency. Since I could type fairly well, I was a writer after all. But this was the days before word processing, so I was a good typist. My first assignment with that temporary agency was with Transamerica Corporation in the Pyramid Building. And I thought, wow, the pyramid. I think this is symbolic. There's something there. So I went to the pyramid. I had a very mundane assignment. My assignment was that I was being assigned to the training department for Transamerica Corporation to clean out a storage cabinet. Clean out a storage cabinet in the training department. That storage cabinet or not cabinet, it was actually a closet. It was full of old training material that had become obsolete. And so they wanted to clear it out to revamp and refresh all the training materials. And it was in the corporate training department. Actually, I was not that far from the president's office. So anyway, I'm there working to toss out all this old training material. And during that process of those few days, I ended up having multiple conversations with the training manager, the corporate training manager, and eventually with the corporate training director, who was her boss. Our conversations covered a wide range of subjects. And during that time, after the cabinet was cleaned, they decided to keep me on because my assignment expanded into other areas of assisting the training staff in various duties. And I was there for a few weeks when one day the director of corporate training called me into his office and offered me an opportunity, which was a rather interesting assignment. You see, at that time, that was 1981. At that time, 1981. At that time, the personal computer was beginning to make an impact. And businesses were beginning to install personal computers into their offices. So what the training director had decided was that if he could get someone to take on the job with a personal computer, they could create a database that they could use to track the progress of what they called their high potential managers. because they had 26 companies as part of this conglomerate. And so they wanted to be able to track the managers from company to company so they'd be able to transfer them between companies and actually build up their resumes, their repertoires, so that they could grow in the company and begin to manage at the higher level, at the corporate level, and oversee all their multitude of companies. So he wanted to buy a personal computer and give it to me to train myself on how to operate this personal computer. And then after I had learned how to operate it, I was supposed to learn how to create and manipulate a database so that they could begin to track the progress of what they called their high potential managers of those 26 companies. So I took the job. I thought about it. It was a very flattering, very unusual offer. And since I was expecting something interesting to happen anyway, since I was being assigned to the pyramid, I knew something was coming. I gave thanks to God for getting me there, for making that happen, because it was a series of synchronistic incidents that got me there to that place, to that position. God was in charge. So I took the job, and I was there a few months, focused on learning how to operate this thing called a personal computer, and then learning how to create these things called digital databases and how to manipulate them and make them perform in ways that were helpful to them to accomplish what it was they wanted to accomplish. Anyway, after a few months, I did it. I successfully created a mechanism to enable Transamerica to track and evaluate their managers across all 26 companies. They were so happy they offered me a permanent job with the company. And so I ended up for a while working for Transamerica Corporation in the Pyramid Building. So what's love got to do with that? I couldn't help but feel truly loved by the wonderful series of seeming coincidences that led me from one door to another door that got me all the way from Venice Beach, being homeless on Venice Beach, cold and lonely on the beach, and finally being wrapped in that warm blanket of angelic love, to the corporate offices of the Transamerica Corporation in a few short months. Yeah, in a few short months. Remember last week I shared with you the passage from the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 7, when he said, "Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be opened to you." Yeah. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be opened. As I said, it was during that time, during the very early 80s, that I came in contact with the woman who was to become my spiritual teacher, Norma Tringali. She had just created a mystery school for spiritual teachings and esoteric teachings, and that opened a whole new world to me. Yeah, that was the teacher I had told God I wanted. I want the kind of teacher who's going to actually teach me something. I want a spiritual teacher that's not going to go by what was rote, but by what was acceptable or accepted teachings. I wanted to get somebody who was going to really take me to higher levels. And hey, she filled the bill. I learned to meditate. I learned the core teachings of several world religions. I learned about my past lives. I learned the sacred rituals that opened my vision, my heart, my spirit to the world of angels, to the world of spirit guides, to the worlds of the ascended masters. I was exposed to the incredible experiences of divine love manifesting in my life all around me. It just opened my eyes to the incredible power of God, the incredible power of infinite intelligence all around us all the time. never away from us, never sleeping, always there. So what is love? Love is energy. We call it emotion, but emotion is energy, energy in motion. Energy in motion. On a personal level, love is the energy that rises up through our hearts, because our hearts are the gateway to infinite intelligence. And it rises up through our hearts and uplifts us through our hearts as we seek to accomplish our dreams, to live our lives. Love is a force that arranges circumstances and situations for us to meet people and for us to get opportunities that come to us out of nowhere, to bring us joy, contentment, the wonderful people that we find in our lives. Love is there. Love is the force that moves all these things all around us, brings them into focus. Love is also what puts us into challenging situations, because at those challenging situations, we're given the opportunity to grow and to expand, even though it might seem unpleasant while we're going through it, while we're in the process. Love is the force that opens our eyes as we look back on what seemed to be a negative situation. But remember, hindsight is 20/20. Hindsight shows us that negative situation that we went through and came out of actually was a gift from God because of what He gave us, what it did to us, what it brought to us, the power, the knowledge, the experience. Love is our essence. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We move from one life to another life to another life, seeking to experience all that is to be learned, because each lesson takes us to a higher level of spiritual expression. We are, each and every one of us, an individualized expression of infinite intelligence. We are. The significant people in our lives have been here before with us. In various lives, they have been here before. That being who is your mother may have been your son in another life. That being who is your father may have been your lover in another life. They've been with us many times before, and we all learn and grow together. Love, love. Love is order. It keeps things moving along smoothly. Even though at this level life may seem to be a little bumpy ride, love keeps things moving. Love keeps things in order. Remember, I urged you last week, if things get a little too rough, step back. Step back out of it and recenter yourself. Get back into understanding that you are a spiritual being and that spirit is on your side. And all you have to do is reconnect to spirit to begin to see what's really going on around you. Love gives you that. Love elevates you to that point. You are never, ever separated from the infinite intelligence. It's always there. It's always there waiting to help. It's always there waiting to protect. It's always there waiting to empower us. And if we open ourselves to it, we can begin to feel that power of love rising up through our heart, rising up to fill our chest with that wonderful warm glow of love. And that wonderful warm glow of love will allow us, in its nurturing energy, it will allow us to grow. It will allow us to access our power. It will allow us to see the truth of what's really going on. So if we take the time to pause, examine our lives without the chaotic emotions of an isolated, materialistic human being, but the enlightened perspective of a spiritual being who is having a human experience, a spiritual being who has the advantage of looking at life from a higher perspective. If we can step back and get into that consciousness rather than this lower level consciousness that tells us that we're in the middle of a swamp up to our elbows in alligators. If we can take that step back and begin to see the truth of love's presence with us all the time, every minute of every day. If we can see the fact that love is intervening in our lives, moving pieces into alignment, opening doors of opportunity, diverting the constant disasters that are waiting to engulf us, pushing those away from us, then we will know that love is life. Love is life. Just like the life expressing here in this Shutterstock video. Love is life. Look at it. Pushing forward, growing, expressing. Love expresses life in millions of forms to bring us beauty and sustenance, to bring us peace and joy, to bring us the gift of expression so that we may grow and we can prosper. Love is all around us. Love, love. Love is within us. You know, at least once a day you should probably take a look in the mirror, deep in your own eyes, and say, I love you. I know it's tough to do. I know it's tough because most of us don't love ourselves or even believe that we're worthy of love. But it's true. We are not only worthy of love, we are filled with love. Love is our essence. Louise Hay, I remember, recommended that we repeat I love you to ourselves 300 times a day. So let me remind you, love is our natural state of being. Love is our essence. And unless and until we begin to accept that love is the truth, then we're going to have a hard time. But once we accept that love is the truth, once we accept that love is our essence, once we accept that we are expressions of love, individualized expressions of love, then we will grow so much better, bigger and stronger and more powerful. Stevie Wonder says love's in need of love today. It is. But it's already here. It's already there. So what's love got to do with it? Absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. Because love is all there is. Let's close with prayer. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence. Thank you for bringing all of us together in this life so that we may become spiritual warriors and join in the work we have come here to do. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence, for bringing us into this space of awareness and a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationship to life and infinite intelligence. Thank you for showing us who we really are. We open our minds and hearts to the truth of our being. We are the children of God. We are individualized expressions of infinite intelligence. And because we are part of the greater whole, we're beginning to understand our value to the continuity of life on this planet. And as we become channels of your power, infinite intelligence, we can feel your presence within ourselves and within our lives more and more. We know that as we feel your presence within our lives every day, we will rise, because we are no longer cut off from you by being immersed in the darkness of fear, anger, and the pain of unforgiveness. So we're now restoring our connection through the grace of forgiveness, knowing that as we learn to forgive ourselves for the pain we have caused to ourselves, and as we learn to forgive those who inflicted pain upon us, our connections will grow stronger, and our lives will grow happier and healthier and more prosperous. And for this we are truly grateful. As above, so below. As within, so without. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Please remember to click on the thumbs up button below the video. And if you haven't already done so, please choose to subscribe. And remember, I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions. So please use the comment section below the video. Remember, this ministry is for you. We're seeking here to give you the tools to break out of the prison of the material world that seeks to keep us down, and take yourself to a higher level where you can truly express who you are as a divine being that you are, as the infinite intelligence expression that you are. You can support this ministry by going to my website at bozemandevelopment.com and choosing the Please Donate button. Or you can choose my Cash App at $Andre Amron. I truly appreciate your support, and I look forward to seeing you again next week, here at the same time, same place. Remember, I am Reverend Andrew Bozeman, and this is On the Wings of Your Mind.